Denzel Doe from the 6. And Doe with a good return all the way out past the 40-yard line to the 43, where he was taken down by Ron Tanner. Play action to open up the game. Takes a strike downfield, and he's able to incomplete. It came loose just as Chase Hammond hit the ground.
I mean, he had to kind of come back to it, but he has to maintain possession.
Now here's Ball. Ball tests the inside, then bounces it to the outside, and able to make the most of it to the 49. Phillips with time, down the field again, and overthrown into the outside of Abradaris. And Chris Fields, a return man for the Buckeyes, sets his heels on the 10-yard line. Back rotation on this punt to the 15 with the fair catch by Fields. Going to keep it himself to open up the game, and he breaks the first tackle and then taken down at the 21. One of the big stories is who's not there for Wisconsin defensively. Here's Quint.
And that is Wisconsin linebacker Chris Borland. He's actually on the sideline in sweats and a t-shirt. He will not play. This is a major, major injury, as a pass out into the flat is incomplete.
Miller, design quarterback run, and he gets it with ease and spins his way to the 32. Quickly to the line are the Buckeyes. And they go with the screen to Devin Smith. And Smith cuts to the left of the blockers. Here's the read, and Miller untouched until he got to the 46-yard line, where he was met by Mike Taylor. Quickly gets it out to Smith, and Smith lowers the shoulders for 14 yards. So a second down and 10 now. Corey Brown, the receiver who we will see in the backfield often.
Timeout.
We get Wisconsin using a timeout.
First team timeout.
Design quarterback run, and they were on top of it right away. That's Mike Taylor. Abradaris back. And it bounces just inside the 5 and then was batted back. Phillips to pass from his own end zone. And he's able to get it to the reliable Jared Abradaris. James White on the fly motion, but Monte Ball with a good gainer. And a lot of emotion out of his mother, Melissa, today, earlier on game day, and here prior to kickoff on senior day. And Monte again able to keep his balance. Sprint to the near side, and he's able to get it complete to Frederick, Jordan Frederick. Travis Howard, starting cornerback for Ohio State, was just taken to the sideline moments ago. Dorian Grant comes in to replace him. 2nd and 6 now for the Badgers. Monte Ball. Be a yard short of the line made.
Here they are with their big package.
They go 8 men on the line of scrimmage, and they give Phillips a chance, and he comes up with it to Derek Rout.
He's got them down really well right now.
Here's James White on the direct snap, the backup running back who's so talented, and he stiff arms his way for a first down. Of course, Montel Harris, such a successful career at Boston College before transferring to play for head coach Steve Adazio and the Owls. This time, nothing doing for White. Phillips, plenty of time to look over the options, and then he tried to get it to the outside to Monte Ball, but he was covered by Shazier. Trying to extend the play and keep it alive, and then he just throws it away. Remember, this drive started at their own 1-yard line. They did a good job, but that 3rd and long was a little too much for Phillips. And this will go for a touchback. First down now, Miller looking over his options, and he spins free that time. And look at him utilize his blocks. 2nd and 2 now, Hyde, one cut, and move the chains again, and still driving ahead. Runs the option to the near side, looking for a block, and just making about 2 yards that time. 2nd and 7. Miller over the middle, and that is incomplete.
We're going to get out of that.
Play clock is running down.
Safety is covering down on the inside receiver right up here.
As Borland looks on, quarterback run. Miller can't find any room. That was David Gilbert. And Abradaris setting up at the 10. Remember, they pinned them at the 1 last time they punted from this position, and they could again. But it goes in for a touchback. They had a chance there. James White now gets his turn, looking for a win here today to give them the Leaders Division outright and claim that trophy. They're ineligible for postseason play, of course, with the NCAA sanction. 3rd and 5, Phillips. That was batted down at the line of scrimmage by John Simon. Chance to give the Buckeyes good field position here. It's a low line drive that Brown fields at the 32, and he breaks the first wave. Punter to beat. Goodbye. Hollow end zone. Buckeyes strike first. Nice snap, but it gets down for Drew Basil to put through. Backs him up to a 2nd and 16. Ball. Monte Ball breaking tackles. Flag is down as Ball gets it out.
Holding offense number 72. Half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
C.J. Barnett, starting safety for the Buckeyes, was slow to get up. And the trainers, you can see, helping him. 2nd and 25. Here's Ball. Just rolling ahead for a couple yards.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Navarro Bowman, and of course number 52, perennial All-Pro.
Here's Phillips now on 1st down. And he throws it incomplete. Big story for Wisconsin is that man, Monte Ball. 17 rushing touchdowns on the year, now 78 in his career.
Tessie's got 92 yards so far in this game, and they need to ride him. They need to do exactly what they did this last series. Ohio State knew they were going to run the football, and it didn't matter. Monte Ball just took it right at them. They need to continue to do that.
All this time, only able to get about 2.5 yards as he was met by Zach Boren. Boren's a guy who was playing offense as of 5 weeks ago. They moved him over from fullback to linebacker.
He's a good, tough kid. He has good patience.
Dad was a linebacker at Michigan, number 3 all-time tackler there when he left. 3rd and 7 now. Kurt Phillips to pass here on 3rd and 7. Pressure came. Ball came loose, and they're going to rule it an incomplete pass. And that was Tommy Shutt. Drew Meyer back on to punt. Chris Fields secures it there. Urban says, we're a very good team. We're not great. Says it's not a team with all the answers, but they are unbeaten. Carlos Hyde brings it close to the 20-yard line. Says, we know how we've won. We know who we are right now. And we're pretty fortunate to be where we are.
And he knows what he is, and he knows, though, that he's gotten better as the season's gone on. Some guys have developed. He'll need more, though.
That's Jeff Hireman, 6'5" tight end, who needed that height to go up and get that throw from Braxton Miller.
Been solid on third down. This will be in the hands of Braxton Miller.
Carlos Hyde, he was stacked up.
He didn't get it.
Big Bo Allen and Brendan Kelly, and Allen is 6'3", 335, and not a biscuit under it.
The old Big Bo Allen, number 96 on the inside. He just stacks it up inside and forces it to go back inside. Kelly does a nice job. They're going to set up this fourth down, and that's just good defense. There's big old Bo Allen, all 340 pounds of him, and I love that guy. It's a big man.
And as Buchanan punts away, that is 2 straight 3-and-outs for Ohio State. And now Urban Meyer has the Buckeyes at 10-0, 6-0 in the conference. 6 times in 11 years as a head coach, Urban has 10 wins or more. And Monte Ball wrapped up by Etienne Sabino, number 6 for Ohio State, who's back after missing the last 4 games with a leg injury.
Well, we got a Wisconsin Badger down. Oh, it's Havestein.
Rob Havestein, who came into this program at 380 pounds, 6'8", 342 sophomore now listed. The least experienced of the offensive linemen. Of course, they've had such consistency with producing NFL-ready offensive linemen in recent years here. And Havestein has been holding down that right tackle position. That's a good sign right there as he gets up under his own power, as the medical staff is training the sophomore. 6'8", 342 holding down that right side.
And he's gotten better as the season's gone on. He still plays a little bit too high. He's 6'8". He does bend pretty well.
Replaced by number 64, Robert Burge, as that group looks to pave the way for Monte Ball, who already has 15 carries for 97 yards and that touchdown that tied the NCAA record for career touchdowns. 2nd down and 8. End around Abradaris. Blockers in front as Abradaris has the first down to the 49-yard line. C.J. Barnett, who left the game earlier, back in making the tackle.
Abradaris is the one receiver that Wisconsin has that they rely on a lot, and they do a lot of different things with him. You saw him right there on the end around, but he needs somebody else to complement him because they don't have that other receiver. They don't really have speed down the field. It forces them to be able to, not be able to expand the field when they play, and that actually hurts Abradaris.
Monte met at the line and driven back by John Simon. It was Bourne the first to get to him, then Simon cleaned it up.
One thing that all these Wisconsin receivers do a pretty darn good job of is they do a nice job of blocking down the field, and that's a lot of the success that Monte Ball's had, because once he does get to that second level, his receivers do a nice job of getting on the DBs.
Second and 8. And Phillips, not much there. Flag comes in late in the defensive backfield.
There's another one. Oh, he just moved it up.
Urban looking for an explanation here.
Illegal low block. Number 89, offense. Cut back to the inside. 15-yard. Repeat, second down.
Remember, that's a point of emphasis this year, the blocking below the waist. Now mostly prohibited with very few exceptions in college football.
Yeah, you're going to see it right here. They want you to stay high on it. It's Chase Hammond, number 89.
Of course, linemen and backs allowed. For linemen, you have to be within 7 yards of the snapper to block low. Backs can do it within the tackle box, but out there in space, they don't go for it. 2nd and 21. Monte Ball. And Ball gets it out to the 49-yard line. There's Barnett again with the tackle.
He sets it up to 3rd and manageable. At least he's at about 3rd and 11-ish. They can protect. Now, the one guy they're going to have to try to get the ball to is Aberderis. And Ohio State obviously knows that. And they've been matching him up man-to-man on the outside. So conventional wisdom would be, if you have that, then you want to go to some tight, maybe bunch packages or stuff test, and maybe work some rubs or picks. They're not going to do that.
Aberderis to the top of your screen as they keep it on the ground on 3rd and 11, and the lateral pursuit is eventually getting to ball for Ohio State.
It's smart by Wisconsin.
2 timeouts remaining for the Buckeyes. And Braxton Miller. And Miller with Bradley Roby, and he is tripped up. Braxton Miller keeps it, and Miller fights for about 4 yards that time. Back healthy and productive this year. 2nd and 5. Miller quickly slings it out to Devin Smith, and Smith has the first down. Ohio State, one of only 4 remaining unbeatens in college football. Miller, that time nowhere to go. 2nd and 12. Miller. And he is forced out by Devin Smith, the cornerback. They walk up to the line defensively. They bring 4 against Miller. And he intended it for Carlos Hyde. Big boot. Fielded by Aberderis. And he gets the first carry of the second half. Gives us a chance. The ball may have come loose there. They roll it down here at Wisconsin. 2nd and 9. And this time James White. 4 completions on the day. 3rd and 8. Phillips pressure, looking for answers, finding nothing. Drew Meyer. Remember, he had that low line drive that Brown returned with ease, and here's another punt like that. Let's see what Brown does here. Nothing this time.
And I believe that this guy here is the key, obviously.
Braxton Miller, who gets it complete to Corey Brown. Here's Miller now. Cuts it to the inside and gets the first down. Myers, such confidence in him in his first press conference. He went so far to mention how happy he was to have Braxton Miller coming here to take over this program. Miller's going to launch it downfield. To the end zone he goes, and that is incomplete. 2nd and 10. Hyde met at the line of scrimmage and then wrapped up and thrown back by Big Bo Allen.
Big Bo Allen. Big Bo, number 96, 340 pounds. One big
Just the express lane of humanity right down to that foot. 3rd down and 9. Defensive front walks up. Let's see if they get after Braxton Miller here on 3rd and 9. Miller extending the play, scrambling at midfield, and then he just has to throw it away. Good coverage downfield and good pursuit from Brendan Kelly. And once again, that defense able to contain him. Harris with the fair catch at around the 15, dents in the wall of that gym back in Eastern Pennsylvania. So Wisconsin, James White able to get to the edge there. Day that they've been waiting for a chance to make history. It was initially met, and then that extra surge. The year started a little slow. Offensive line wasn't in gear. They fired their O-line coach, and now they go with the fullback, Derek Watt, making history today. One more touchdown, and the FBS record will be his. 2nd and 7. This time, Shays are able to need him.
But I just think Monty Ball is a guy, the more you watch him, the more you're around him, you see just how really good he is.
3rd and 5. And they're able to move the chains. They get it complete. Ball came loose at the end there.
He's down.
And they're saying that he was down as Jacob Pedersen with the reception there. First down for the Badgers. Monte Ball, the lone back. Ball able to get that corner and pass midfield before he's run out by Nathan Williams.
You know, Monte Ball appears to be lighter than he was even a year ago.
You know, it's interesting to talk about Louisiana Tech because where they are now in the BCS standings, there's a potential for us having a BCS buster this year, but they're struggling today. 2nd and 4, Phillips. And Phillips goes down again. That is the 3rd sack of the day for Ohio State, and it was John Simon who's having a big day. 3rd and 9 now. And that is complete for a first down to Jordan Frederick.
That time, Phillips, again, he had the time in the pocket, and instead of bailing, he steps up. And because of that step up, he is able to get this completion. Receiver comes back to the ball, and that's well done.
On that last sack. Play action now on 1st down, and he gets it complete, but for no gain to Pedersen. Old school look there, Phillips. November kind of football where you're missing pieces of your jersey. Here's Monte Ball now as he makes the most of that to the 34-yard line, tackled by Barnett. 2.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd. One team knows they're headed to the title game. The other team trying to remain undefeated. 3rd and 5. Blockers in front by Ball, but so is the pursuit of Ohio State as they swarmed him. It was led by Zach Boren and C.J. Barnett.
And nicely job. That's a great job, team defense, in getting to the edge and then setting that edge on the outside. This time looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down. That'll get the crowd into it a little bit.
So Phillips stays in, looks over to Brett Bielema. Camp Randall looking for a big play here on 4th and 4. The 5th-year senior quarterback who started last week. First start he had since high school. Now in a big spot against the Buckeyes. 4th and 4. Phillips with time throws it to the near side and complete for a first down to Kenzel Doe.
Ohio State sits in the zone that time. They sit in the zone and no pressure. Nice job by this offensive line of giving Phillips time to be able to throw it. Watch Doe on the outside. Just they run it off and he dumps underneath. It's great awareness of where the first down is and gets it.
They go Wildcat here with James White. And Monte Ball as a lead blocker as White gets it to the 21-yard line, tackled by Shazier. How they'd love to get that with a tie game here against the unbeaten Buckeyes. Trailing by 7 as it stands. 2nd and 6, and he was met in the backfield by Jonathan Hankins.
Big Bang Hank right there. 320 pounds. Now that guy at the next level, he will be a nose tackle.
Well, he's considered one of the top NFL prospects. Todd McShay has him in the top 5 on the defensive line.
I would like to see him have a little bit more movement. He doesn't move. He can, you just don't see it all the time. But at the next level in the interior, either a right on the nose or a shade off the nose, he'll be playing on Sunday.
3rd and 9. Will they get one last play in here in this quarter? And ball, no gain there, tackled by Shazer,
who came on a blitz.
Ohio State's lead. And that never had a chance. Now that defense will need to step up here at home on senior day against the unbeaten Buckeyes. Braxton Miller is met. There goes Hyde, and Hyde breaks free for a first down as he Hyde this time able to get 3 yards on the inside. Braxton sprints to the near side. Flag is down.
Holding. 79 offense. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
For Ohio State. Miller with plenty of time and now slings it downfield, and that was almost intercepted by Mike Taylor, and a flag comes in.
Personal foul. 83 defense. 8-yard penalty. 3rd down.
They need to get all the way out to midfield. And Hyde will be run down. Wisconsin, they've clinched a spot in the Big Ten title. They want more. They want to prove that they belong. Trailing by 7 here.
Almost out of the game completely.
They go with Melvin Gordon. What a hit! Bert Phillips to pass on 3rd and 9. Phillips slings it downfield and gets it complete. He was close to the line of scrimmage, but he was able to connect with Jacob Pedersen when he's needed to be, to extend drives, move the chains. And now they can always go back to this guy, Monte Ball. Good leg drive to the 46-yard line. 78 career touchdowns. The next one would break the all-time record. 2nd and 4. Unable to get much going there, just a yard. 4 of 13 on the day on 3rd down conversions. Phillips, he threw it low into the inside of the intended target. Back to the 10-yard line. Drew Meyer on to punt. Directional kick. Back rotation on it. Takes a bounce at the 5. And it'll go for a touchback. They need a few more lights on that scoreboard to flick on. Braxton Miller being chased to the outside and unable to get to the edge that time. 2nd and 9. Corey Brown had that punt return in the first half. 3rd down and 7. Wisconsin looking for a stop. Play clock down to 2. Here's Braxton Miller. Comfortable in the pocket. Now the pressure gets to him. Ball. Could he? As he is forced out, trailing by a score. Ball thinking about the all-time touchdown record as they work him again. And he drives to the 18-yard line. Looking to tie this game, looking to break the record. 2nd and 7, play action. Phillips downfield. Broken up at the last possible moment by Bradley Roby. Your senior quarterback. They hand off the ball on 3rd and 7. Waiting on blockers, fighting ahead, and he's going to be within a yard. 4th and 1. And it's Phillips instead of Ball who goes over the top.
Looks like he's got it.
Pedersen in motion. Monte Ball. Can't break free of Zach Bourne that time. Here he goes. Can he get there? One cut, spins, and it'll be 3rd and short as Roby and Bourne came up to find Monte Ball. And we're going to get a timeout. Wisconsin.
Timeout. Wisconsin. First team timeout.
Let's see if they can do it. And shift the formation out of that 9-man front and go to the eye for Monte Ball. 3rd and 2. Here's Ball. Pushing, driving. Does he have it? He's going to be short of the goal line. But he's going to be right at that stick. Zach Bourne came up to meet him. Watch this drive here.
That looks like a bad spot.
They're calling it 4th and inches, and Brett Bielema incredulous to the fact of that mark as he's running down to talk to the near side linesman.
Was the runner was short of the first down and the goal line. Following the video review, the play stands as called. 4th down.
So it'll be 4th down, as if this crowd needs more drama with what's on the line.
This is great. This is Big Ten football. This is what it's all about right here. Look, Monte Ball, he's an All-American. He wants to set the record. This offensive line has gotten better. Ohio State is undefeated on the strength of a few players, the majority of which are in that defensive front. Let's see who's the better group. This is great Big Ten football right here.
Coming up on 3 minutes in the game, Ohio State unbeaten. Monte Ball looking for the all-time record. 4th down, here it is. Ball came loose, it's a fumble, and it is recovered by Ohio State. Christian Bryant was in the right spot at the right time. The ball went right to him. Ryan Shazer forced the fumble, and the Ball family can't believe it. He was trying to reach out and break that plane and tie this game and set the record. Instead, Shazier.
Following the video review, the ruling of a fumble has been confirmed. 1st down, Ohio State.
Etienne Sabino, Ryan Shazier, and then Christian Bryant with the recovery. And oh, how cruel this game can be.
Ryan Shazier has played a monster game here tonight.
Carlos Hyde now looking to work the clock. The Buckeyes coming up on 2.5 minutes. Remember, one of the 4 remaining unbeaten teams in college football. They're looking to secure the leaders division outright. But a fumble at the goal line moments ago as now Ohio State looks to remain unbeaten if they can take care of the clock, facing a 2nd and 6. Wisconsin with the timeout left as they're able to get to Hyde. That was good effort by Dipple and Bo Allen, so they will use the timeout.
Wisconsin takes a little bit of chance on coverage outside to get people up in the box.
3rd and 10. Braxton Miller from his own end zone looking for space. And he is taken down at the 9-yard line. That was Desmond Southward and Tyler Dipple. So the clock will count down. They will be punting away. It'll be under 2 minutes.
They'll get this thing back with about $1:40, $1:35, right around in there.
Jared Aberderis, former walk-on, now one of their most reliable players. Back at midfield is Ken Buchanan from his own end zone to punt away here for the Buckeyes. And a This is not a good punt. It's fielded at the 45. Aberderis is taken down at about the 41. There's Devin Smith on the coverage.
Kirk Phillips got to make a play here now.
Here's Phillips, fifth-year senior. Pressure, and they get to him.
Guess who?
John Simon, his 4th sack of the day.
Now that's the one thing you could not do. You could not take a sack. He needed to throw that thing away, and he needed to see it quick.
Just the 2nd career start for Kirk Phillips, and now that inexperience, maybe it shows up as he gets this complete to Doe, who darts out, leaving 1:04 remaining on the clock. But it'll be a 3rd and long here.
Doesn't have to get the whole thing back here. If it's there, you take it. You cannot take a sack. You're going to have another 4th down, so you have to have a play right away called, knowing where you're going with it, unless they can get out of bounds.
Aberderis to the top of your screen. That's his go-to target. Flanked by the great Monte Ball in the backfield on 3rd and 12, a minute to play. Phillips, and this ball is complete. It'll be 4th down. The clock will be running here. 54 seconds and counting, as they will be facing a 4th and 3 here. Under 50 seconds remaining. 4th down.
That wasn't good. They didn't have the play called right away. He should have been at the line of scrimmage.
4th and 3. Phillips, it is complete.
Get the line of
They've got a
scrimmage.
chance here.
He's got to stop. Got to stop the clock test.
Of course, it stops for the 1st down to move the chains. No timeouts remain for Wisconsin. Phillips, just his 2nd start. Keep it on the ground to ball. Remember, no timeouts. We're under half a minute to play.
Look, they're walking back to
didn't
the
like that play call at all.
Yeah, they're walking back. You can't do that. That's impossible. That's not good management right there.
And now they have to clock it. So that took time, valuable time off the clock. Only 19 seconds remains.
That was a very poor 2nd down, 1st down call. That didn't work. Now you're sitting at 3rd down. You've got 19 seconds. He's got to take a shot here to get a 1st. Got to get out of bounds. They have to defend the sidelines unless he has something that he can get to the end zone. This is enough, there's enough room here to be able to take your shot and still have 2 more downs.
Here's Phillips with time over the middle. That is caught for a 1st down. It'll be 1st and goal. Clock stops at 13 seconds. They can clock it there and have their shot at the end zone. And that's exactly what he does.
Now that's what you had to be able to do. That's a huge job. Nicely protected. And Phillips knows where he's going to go with the thing, back inside, and guess who? Aberderis is the guy he looked for the whole way. Eyeballed it the whole time, and now, with 13 seconds, you could conceivably, Joe, get 3 plays in here. The ball's got to come out quick. He cannot extend the play. Ball has to come out quick or throw it away.
Play clock is down under 5.
They're going to push it back up.
Clock operator, the previous play, 13 seconds. The ball was spiked. 1 second will come off the clock for 12 seconds.
Urban Meyer has the Buckeyes undefeated. Brett Bielema wants to prove that Wisconsin belongs in that Big Ten title game, as they've been playing better late. And now 12 seconds remain, 2nd and goal. Phillips looking to the end zone and finding. How about that? Jacob Pedersen. The officials want to take a look.
The previous play is under review.
Show you he leveraged Zach Bourne, the inside linebacker. All they want to see is if he made the catch.
All the way through as well.
Which
Consider
he did.
that.
Ruling of a touchdown has been confirmed.
And now it'll come down to the former walk-on, Kyle French, who this year has missed 2 extra points. He missed a 40-yarder earlier in the game. This to tie it. with 8 seconds remaining. (14-14). Badgers momentum here in the second half, and for Urban Meyer, and he takes a look up at that scoreboard, cringes for a moment. As French had that high pressure extra point. Smith, Rod Smith and Devin Smith will be back. Only 8 seconds remain. And they kick away as it sails deep into the end zone.
He was at his best when the pressure was at its highest. And that last throw could not have been more perfect.
Overtime here in Madison, Wisconsin, when we come back.
Ball in regulation, 187 yards and the 1 touchdown. Of course, the fumble when he went for it on 4th down, but he's had a big day here.
Monte Ball on senior day, coming out to the coin toss for overtime.
Good luck in the overtime. Gentlemen, you know it's played like innings. In the inning, each team's going to get 1 team out. We'll play a full inning. Team that's ahead at that inning wins the game. Ohio State, gold side is heads, blue side is tails. Ohio State's call. Tails is the call. It's come up heads. Wisconsin won the toss.
You want to be on defense.
Wisconsin's chosen defense. It's end of the field. You're going to do it at this end of the field. Ohio State, you'll put the ball in play. First down.
Bill Lemonnier, the referee, with one of the most easy to understand explanations of overtime I've ever heard. Guys, it's like innings. And guess what? Wisconsin winning that toss means they get the last at bat in this first overtime. He was 5 for 5, 48 yards and a touchdown on that game-tying last drive. And now Camp Randall and 80,000 plus. They come alive here. It is loud in Madison for overtime. Carlos Hyde breaks a tackle and then scoops ahead, does Hyde, near the 15-yard line. And that'll be a first down for the Buckeyes.
Now, Devin Smith does a nice job almost to the end, and then they give up the edge.
Braxton Miller keeps it himself, and Miller is taken down near the 10-yard line.
This Wisconsin defense, through the 4th quarter, played extremely well. Now is when they have to play their best. Conversely, same thing for this offensive line for Ohio State.
So much has been asked of this Wisconsin defense. Chris Borland, the starting middle linebacker, out. Urban looks on, anxiously awaiting to see what Miller can come up with here. Miller looking to pass. Now extending the play. Crowd wanted a flag as Miller lowers the shoulder and will make it 1st and goal. The crowd reacting to what they thought should have been a hold on that play on the left side of the line.
On Gilbert on the outside. When he takes off and runs right there, and then another one down here from Carlos Hyde.
1st and goal. Just like that, Ohio State moving with ease, and Hyde just steps over the defender into the end zone, and Ohio State puts a touchdown on the board.
Heck, they just played power football. Did a nice job. Carlos Hyde wasn't even challenged.
Hyde's 2nd touchdown of the day. And the extra point by Drew Basil is good. 21-14, so now Wisconsin has to match. Remember, the leaders division, Ohio State, even though they're ineligible for the postseason, the Big Ten will acknowledge them as the division champs, present them with that trophy. They want that hardware to validate their season. NCAA sanctions say they can't go on to that Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin is going to be there representing the leaders division. Ohio State, who scored the game-winning touchdown with 20 seconds in last year's game. Wisconsin reversed things this year, striking late, but now Phillips needs an encore performance here. Monte ball. And get to the edge, and he is forced out just past the 20-yard line.
Looks like Williams is down, number 43, Nathan Williams.
Ball with his 38th rush there. And ties a career high as Nathan Williams limps off the field, starting defensive end. Big offensive line for Wisconsin. They have helped Ball. As Monte with 193 yards, the one touchdown that tied the FBS career record of touchdowns was 78. He was looking to break it in the fourth quarter when he fumbled at the goal line. Phillips, play action. Phillips, pressure, launches to the end zone, but he throws it far to the outside of Derek Watt. The pressure came from Ryan Shazier.
Again, Shazier has had a monster game for Ohio State. Between he and John Simon, who has 4 sacks, and Shazier with making all the big-time plays, particularly down that stretch, they both have put in a great effort here today.
First overtime. 3rd and 4. Ohio State scored the touchdown, and now they're jumping around, as is often the case here at Camp Randall. Wisconsin has to match. They need 7 to force a second overtime. Ball stacked up, nowhere to go. A loss of 2. It'll be 4th down. Etienne Savino with a great play there defensively.
So now you got your 4th down. I would like to see a little bit of a kind of a rollout for Phillips. Give him an option. Remember, although he's had surgically repaired knees, he can still run. You want to be able to have the throw and the run option here.
Here's the game to keep it alive. 4th and 6. Got to get to the 15, and it is incomplete. Defended by Christian Bryant, and Ohio State remains undefeated.
Tess, remember the touchdown to put it into overtime. They tried to get to Pedersen. Well, this was the same throw. They were going to try the exact same thing. They came with a blitz. He had inside leverage, just could not deliver because Sabino made a nice play on the ball.
Let's go down to Quint Kesnick.
Coach Meyer congratulating the Wisconsin Badgers. Coach, yeah, exactly. They score with 8 seconds to go to tie it up. What's going through your mind?
Well, what's going through my mind is we're in the student section in a tough environment against a very good team, and hey, our guys played their butts off on the road. We found a way to win 3 road games in 3 tough environments, so I'm proud of our guys. I
saw you talk to your captains. You want to know part of that student section in overtime.
Yeah, that's a nice student section down there, so we decided to play the game down there, and I'm glad that the offense was awful.
Yeah, what made the difference on that drive, though?
Well, the line blocked, and then Braxton is a freak athlete, made a couple people miss on that one, and then we pounded it in there, so that was a great game.
11-0, Coach. Congratulations. 1 more to go.
Second overtime win by Ohio State this year. Let's go back to that last 4th down, Matt.
Same thing. They're good, like I mentioned, they're going to bring the pressure down inside Pedersen is going to get up the field, and Sabino right here. He's going to take the inside leverage away. Now he's working from downhill. He sees the whole thing. The break he made was beautiful. He's able to get his hand inside there. Is that Sabino? Is that Bryant? Christian Bryant, number 2. That was Christian Bryant. Excellent job by Bryant from the safety spot, and that's the difference in the play.
Michigan now awaits for Ohio State and Urban Meyer. They're 11-0.